Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Excellent Amount 438, who asks, am I the arsehole for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? So, I'm a first-time mum, and this whole experience has been very overwhelming for me. My wonderful baby just hit 3 months and is officially no longer a newborn. I've been lucky enough that I have a good supply, so my baby girl is exclusively breastfed, except for any excess that we use when my husband does her night feeds. I've made it very clear to most of our friends and family that I don't want anyone but me or my husband feeding her. My mother-in-law has been slightly annoyed, bordering on judgmental about this, but mostly kept her mouth shut. We have never had any issues in the past, so I just chalked it up to her wanting to bond with the baby. I might allow it when she's older, but for now I'm not comfortable with anyone else doing it. So we're over in my sister-in-law's house for her son's birthday. While all cousins and husbands played outside, me and all the ladies sat inside playing past the baby. She ends up in my mother-in-law's arms and begins to fuss and make her hungry cry. I stood up and went to take her before she pulled her back and told me to go make a bottle. I told her no, that I would go to the guest room and feed her. My sister-in-law stood too and said she had some formula and would make it for me. I refused again and quickly took my baby, saying she's never had formula and I don't want her to be sick. My mother-in-law sighs and rolls her eyes and asks, why don't you just pump some so I can feed my baby? I must have been visibly horrified because one of my other sister-in-laws stood and tried to guide me away by my shoulder. I took her to the other room to feed her and sat in there with her for the rest of the party. The sister-in-law whose party it was came to find me. I almost hit her when she said, don't you think it's a little selfish you won't let mum feed the baby? You could have just pumped a couple of ounces for her. Opie continues saying, I said I will never pump anything for anyone because I'm not a cow and she's my baby. She declared I was being bitchy and walked away. My husband doesn't know this is all happening, but on the ride home, his mother and 2 of the other wives texted me to tell me it was unfair to hog my baby and to make it so she couldn't bond with anyone else and that I should have just pumped before I came so I didn't have to hide her away. My mother-in-law specifically said that I was being so selfish with her only granddaughter, and it wasn't fair for her that she couldn't even feed her baby. I just texted back that it wasn't her baby and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I know I should tell my husband, but I don't want to add more strain as he and his mother are still trying to heal their relationship when they had a big fight a couple of years ago. I don't want to cause drama, but I'm starting to feel very guilty. Especially since I'm still getting tons of texts about how cruel I'm being. Am I the arsehole for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? Edit, small bit of context. My little sister choked while being fed by our great aunt and almost died. She hadn't been holding her properly and my sister had to be rushed to the hospital. I was very young, but the memory is still very fresh in my mind, even when my husband is feeding our baby. I never want my baby to be unsafe while being fed, and I worry about other people feeding her because of this. Now this is an absolute not the arsehole for me. Your mother-in-law calling your baby my baby. We've seen that one too many times in these stories and it's always concerning. And you're not hogging your baby. You're parenting your baby. You're feeding your baby in the way that you see fit. And the trauma that you added on the end of your story adds another layer to it as well. And the way that sister-in-law stood up immediately and said they're going to make some formula sounds like this has been a discussion in the background, almost like you was ambushed in that moment. That might not be the case, but it certainly felt that way to me. But in the end, you absolutely need to tell your husband. There's a reason he had a falling out with his mum previously, and I can almost guarantee you it's because of her actions, and she's doing it again, and your husband needs to know. But Wingnut says, not telling your husband just allows mother-in-law to slant the event to her advantage. Keep secrets from your husband, even for his own good, is a bad precedent. Not the arsehole. Opie says, I'm definitely sitting him down when he gets home from work. I hate to make their relationship worse, but this whole thing is making me realize she probably shouldn't have a ton of access to me or baby. I have a feeling that OP is going to be surprised, probably in a good way, with her husband's reaction to this, because I got a feeling there's a whole load of history between these two. But Elegant says, not the arsehole. They actively got bonding time. What do they think holding the baby is? Bonding time. Feeding a baby is not the only way to bond with them. Neither of my daughters took a bottle. My parents still bonded with her plenty. I actually think they only gave a handful of bottles to my son because I was pretty adamant on the beginning about being the only one giving him a bottle once a night. He nursed every other feeding. Since my husband was gone for training and couldn't have that experience. My son is a total Grammys boy at almost 5 years old. My middle is a complete Papa's girl at almost 2. I didn't need to feed them bottles in order to create the bond they have with them. My daughter actually was not fond of my dad until she was about 10 months old. She would scream if he even looked at her. Sounds like mother-in-law and your sister-in-laws are just boundary stompers and have zero respect for you. Opie replies saying, I guess all the other wives have let her feed their babies. My husband and 4 brothers have 1 sister, and of them all, I'm the only one who's had a girl. It's been a whole fuss, and I've already let her have so much more time with the baby than I would have liked. My father-in-law couldn't care less and doesn't even want to hold her, but he's not a baby guy. It's also hard because I don't have my parents in my life, so I want her to have grandparents and I want to keep the peace. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. As you said, you are not a cow. This is the natural way for this to go because we were made to breastfeed and bond with our babies. Mother-in-law already had her babies and baby bonding. Blue Kayak says, not the arsehole. Looks as if she tried a sneak attack with the whole, I'll go get some formula plan from your sister-in-law. It was planned out that way. You were right as far as your baby getting sick if suddenly fed formula. I'd tell your husband the next time he wants you to be around your mother-in-law, tell him everything, and that you may not want to be left alone with her next time you're at a gathering, especially since she used a flying monkey to try to get you to take her off of breast milk. Betty Nugg says there's a lot to unpack here. You've got some past trauma overshadowing all of this. No one has a right to try and push formula on an EBF baby. Just gross. I would have died. No one has the right to request pumping, especially if you aren't working, as that messes with supply and nutrients baby gets when nursing early on. Feeding the baby is a general, exclusively mum's job until baby is taken in something other than breast milk. It's no one else's baby but yours and your husband's. So at some point later, OP does come in with her update and says, so after everyone's suggestions, I decided I was going to talk to my husband when he got home from work. I put baby down to sleep before initially posting, and I posted because of all the messages from mother-in-law and sister-in-laws. Apparently his oldest brother's wife had called him today at work and told him what my mother had said and what the other wives had said when I left the room. We sat at the kitchen table and I had him read the messages from start to finish. He was upset with me at first for keeping it from him, then hugged me and said he hated that I had to go through this alone. He went upstairs to call his mother. He told me after about 10 minutes on the phone that until baby is a year, mother-in-law will have minimal contact, as well as his sister not being allowed around the baby either. He told me to block both of their numbers for the time being, and so I did. He also told me that their fight 2 years ago was over his mother trying to get him back with his ex right after he proposed to me, and that's why they stopped talking for the rest of that year. He said he's told his mother that if she pushes for more next time, we give her an opportunity, then it might be our last chance at a granddaughter. This has all progressed so quickly and everyone was right about talking to my husband. I wish I had gone to him right from when it happened, but I was so worried to put more strain. Thank you for all the advice. All I can say on the back of that one is decent update. Husband stepped in, spoke to mother, put boundaries in place. What more do you need on the back of that one, right? I'm sure some of you are going to tell me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit. It says, my 28 female, boyfriend 30 male, secretly invited his parents to move into our house without telling me. Throwaway because boyfriend and friends use Reddit. So I've been with boyfriend for 4 years, living together for almost 2. We bought a house together last year. We had a lot of talks beforehand about boundaries, financial planning, and how important it was for both of us to feel like this was our space. Last week, boyfriend casually mentioned that his parents might stay with us for a while. I assumed that he meant a week or two, maybe up to a month. Fine, they live out of state and I know they've been struggling financially, so I didn't think too much of it. Well, I found out yesterday from mother-in-law, not even from boyfriend, that the plan isn't just a visit. Boyfriend apparently told them they could move in with us indefinitely. As in, they've already sold their place and are arriving next weekend with a moving truck. I was stunned. I confronted boyfriend immediately and he acted like it wasn't a big deal. He said, they're my parents. Of course they have a place here. When I told him that a permanent arrangement was never discussed and that I didn't consent to it, he got defensive. He said that I was being cold and ungrateful and accused me of hating his family. For context, I don't hate his parents. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are fine in small doses, but they're very traditional and openly critical of me for not being wife material. We're not married and I have no plans to quit my career. Mother-in-law has made comments about how she'd love to help raise the kids. We don't want children right now. Father-in-law is the kind of guy who thinks women belong in the kitchen, so the idea of them living with us full-time is challenging. I feel completely betrayed. Boyfriend made a massive, life-altering decision without my input, one that directly impacts our home. He keeps brushing it off like I'm overreacting. I don't even know how to come back from this. How should we deal with it? Whenever we see in these stories partners who make these unilateral decisions about shared things like your home and then gaslighting you for objecting to it, you've got to question if they're actually ready for a real adult relationship. Saying that you're cold and ungrateful for not wanting them in that space is like a permanent arrangement. And it sounded like, regardless of everything else, you was pretty cool about it at first. He mentioned that they might stay for a while, and you assumed, a week or two, maybe a month, and you was fine with it, which for me in itself is absolutely amazing of you in the first place. But then to throw this at you at the same time is absolutely wild, especially considering all the shit about you not being wife material. Imagine having to live with those. Oh, just no. No. But the first commenter says in the top commenter, it's a real shame you aren't married. It would make the legalities for selling the house cleaner. There is nothing to fix here, OP. This is not a betrayal that you can fix. You don't need to fix him or try to get over this. You should not. Get a lawyer. The parents aren't in your house yet. Great. Get a lawyer before they move in. Your relationship should be over. This man does not respect and care about you. I'm sorry to be blunt, but there is no we to deal with this. There is only you, and whether or not you're going to lay down like a doormat and pay for their house. Magic also says lawyer up. This relationship is over, and he's just shown you he's willing to fight real dirty. Get a storage locker and move your most precious items and important paperwork into it quietly. If asked, you have too much stuff and you're purging. Take your lawyer's advice and move in silence. Eat the Bank has replied to that and says, they are bringing a moving truck next week. This has been plotted behind her back for quite a while, as they sold their house conveniently right after OP bought their house. So I'm thinking he's expecting them to move all of their furniture in, and is probably going to give them the master bedroom too. He's stealing her half of the house and handing it to his parents. Guarantee the dad will take over the house and make the rules, and mum will be rearranging everything to her liking. If it were me, I'd be getting my own truck and move the fuck out now. Let him support them while OP's lawyer does their work. I wonder if it's even possible to remove the boyfriend before they even move in. This is beyond crazy. Intelligent Rule says this is posted in relationship advice. So my advice is you don't have a relationship. This is a crazy, life-altering decision that your boyfriend can't respect you enough to include in said decision. Even more insulting, you're now being brushed off as too dramatic. If it was me, I wouldn't be wasting time on Reddit. I'd be speaking to my lawyer. Boyfriend needs to buy you out, or mummy and daddy can. This is not a situation where you're going to win. This will be the rest of your life. He'll make decisions without consulting you, and it'll only get worse. Protect your investment in the house and use it to break free into your own place. Wish you all the best. Just want to add, I'm usually a talk it out and see if things can be worked on type of person. This guy doesn't seem like he'll have a conversation. He sees nothing wrong with what he's done, and there's no arguing with stupid. Reverend Vader says, This happened to me in the early noughties. Thankfully, I was paying for the house 100%, so they go or you all go sorted it. Gave her a month for parents to find somewhere else to stay. Behind that, my partner grew up with parents that just walked all over what decent people regard as basic boundaries, like not moving into someone's house without 2 yeses. On top of that, I learned my partner would always be a self-lowering doormat for her parents, and she was also totally fine forcing me to be her doormat as the consequence. It took a few years to realize people that allow this behavior on them will treat their partner exactly the same. This is why you were not told. There is a hierarchy in this family, and you come last. I got the fuck out once the penny dropped, but not before it cost me half the house. I'd get out now if I was you. Quicker equals cheaper in the long run. And one more comment who says, I think your relationship is over. Partners do not make big decisions like that alone. If you decide to stay, I would expect things to get worse, and you have to set a precedent on him making big decisions alone. Get a lawyer to draw up paperwork about the house. You can buy him out, he can buy you out, you can put it up for sale and split the proceeds. Hopefully a hard lesson learned. Do not buy property together if you are not married. So after all these comments, OP edits that same post and says, thanks everyone for the support and advice. It really helped me feel less crazy about this. I've already been in contact with my lawyer, and while it'll take some time, it looks like this should end well for me in the long run. There's a lot of people ask for an update. I'll post one once everything is officially sorted out. The OP does come in with an update and says, first, thank you to everyone who commented and offered support. Reading your messages really helped me feel seen and validated during all of this. Sorry it took me so long to post an update. Everything got tied up with lawyers and paperwork, and I wanted it settled before sharing. Max ended up buying me out of the house. Best decision I've ever made. I walked away, had a fresh start and no dead weight attached to me. I got my own place. Got lucky with a very small apartment. Left all furniture behind as most was his anyway. Focused on work, and honestly my life has been calm, stable and better than it's ever been. Meanwhile, he got exactly what he thought he wanted. The house, with his parents in it. And it's been an absolute train wreck. They moved in permanently, and within days it was obvious they see him less as a son and more as their live-in caretaker. They expect him to cover all their bills, cook, clean and drop everything for them. They nitpick every little thing, criticize how he runs the house, and remind him daily that he owes them for everything they ever did for him. He's working longer hours just to keep up financially, and the house that was supposed to be his pride and joy has basically become their space, not his. He has no privacy, no downtime, and no control. From what mutual friends have told me, he's burned out, bitter, and constantly snapping at everyone around him. When I confronted him about why he didn't even tell me about their move-in, he said, if I told you, you would have said no, and I couldn't let them down. That line still blows my mind. He admitted point blank that my opinion never mattered. He saw me as a roadblock, not a partner. So yeah, I dodged a bullet. He chained himself to the exact life I refused to accept, and now he's drowning in it. I got out clean, and I don't regret a thing. So I guess life's going pretty well. Edit, and I see a bunch of people calling this post fake because all of this got resolved in 2 weeks. Honestly, that's fair, as it does seem fake. To be honest with all of you, I wrote that first post for validation, as I thought I was going crazy, either hoping for people to push me to do it or people telling me to take the chill pill. I had a lawyer and paperwork prepared so I could just pull it out immediately if necessary, or put it away, pretending this stuff never happened. As I was not willing to live in this situation, I gave my ex the papers and he pretty much agreed with no fuss, paid with his own money, dipped a bit into his savings, and things moved fast. Take a switch, says the OP. Ain't that the best? When a relationship ends and you know with absolute certainty that they regret it. He reaped exactly what he sowed. Small Town Guy says, OP, congrats. You definitely dodged a huge bullet here by moving out and insisting your ex buy out your share of the house. From what you said about how things have gone between your ex and his parents, they would have all dragged you down, and you would have been a negative, toxic, miserable life. Keep doing you, and you will eventually find a much better man to share and build a life with. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next post is just a cheeky one from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, no update as yet, from a deleted user who says, am I the arsehole for refusing to pay for our friend's now broken iPhone and sunglasses that our son broke? I'm 28 female and my husband is 32 male. Our son in question is 6 months old. Whenever someone holds them, we warn them that they try to grab your glasses or phone, and sometimes even your hair. We're trying to break this habit, but he is 6 months old. Now, I warned my husband that a friend of mine, 33 female, let's call her Jean, came to visit and wants to hold, which we didn't mind at all. I warned her about it all, saying, oh, best take your sunglasses off your head or he'll grab them. Now, these are Gucci sunglasses costing almost £800, which to me is a crazy amount for sunglasses, but each to their own, and she rolled her eyes at me and accused me of hogging my own baby. I warned her again. She said it's fine. Just getting flashbacks from the first post about hogging. She stood holding firm, took her phone out wanting to take a selfie, which again I'm fine with as long as it's not posted. Don't want a pic of him online as of yet. He of course grabbed her sunglasses, got excited as he got them, waved his hands about with the sunglasses, and they flew. She screamed, scaring him. He panicked and flailed, hitting her phone to the floor. I quickly took him as she was freaking out. She says I need to buy her a new iPhone 16 and replace her sunglasses or give her the money for them, which is £2,300. I said we can't pay that as that's not even my monthly wage. Plus I'm on maternity, but I also didn't feel like I should as you ignored my warnings. I'm called heartless for not being more understanding of her upset. I was more concerned with calming down my son. My husband just shrugged, telling her I did warn her. So am I the arsehole? Hidden Think says, if your child was 6 years old, I could see an argument for not having taught your child proper behavior. However, in this situation, the kid is only 6 months old. You provided adequate warning, so not the arsehole. You owe her nothing. OK Disaster says, when I read the top, I thought surely you're responsible. But not the arsehole. You warned her, specifically about the glasses. She overrode your suggestion. A 6-month-old is still a bundle of nerves learning how everything works. Also, £800 for non-prescription glasses is indeed stupid. Swill Shop says not the arsehole. Your financial situation is not relevant. If it was your responsibility, it would remain so. You'll be asking for kindness for the debt to be forgiven or reduced, but you are not responsible. You duly warned her. She took responsibility when she rolled her eyes, dismissed your warning and said it's fine. End of story, end of discussion with her. I'm guessing she wanted a selfie of the baby and her, with her fine Gucci glasses. That mattered more to her than safeguarding her stuff. She could have also asked you to take a picture of her and the baby. And I was exactly along the lines of the comments. You gave her plenty of warning. Initially when I came into this and I saw the title, I thought, uh-oh, OP could be in trouble here, but absolutely not. Plenty of warnings. She didn't do it. And I strongly suspect anyway that that selfie was going online whether you liked it or not. All for the gram, am I right? But what do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you got a different opinion on the matter. Has something similar ever happened to you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.